Prior to this week, the story I'm sharing with you today has only been shared with my attorneys and 4 other people. My mother, Millie, my deceased brother, Chip, Don Canham, and my father, Bo. It's a deeply personal and painful story of abuse and betrayal, abuse by a trusted doctor and betrayal of my father and the University of Michigan, which he served. My father sent me to Dr. Robert Anderson for my first physical exam around 1969. I was in the 4th grade. I had to get a physical before starting tackle football with the junior Wolverines. Dr. Anderson was the team doctor, so that's where Bo sent me for my exam. As a 10-year-old kid, I didn't really know what to expect, but what Dr. Anderson did made me uncomfortable. He fondled my genitals and conducted an invasive rectal exam with his finger. I told my mom as soon as I got home, as I was uncomfortable and shaken. She was a registered nurse, and after she had heard what Anderson did, she knew something was wrong, and she wanted me to tell my dad in her presence. When Bo got home, I told him what happened, and it did not go well. Bo's temper was legendary, and he lost it. He screamed, "I don't want to hear this. I'm not hearing this." I tried to tell him repeatedly, but my effort earned me a punch in the chest. This was the beginning of the end of the relationship with him. I hoped my father would protect me, but he didn't. My mom didn't give up. She went over Bo's head and asked athletic director Don Canham to come to the house in the following days to hear what occurred. I respected Don Canham and told him what happened to me at the hands of Dr. Anderson. Mr. Canham told my mother, "Okay, I'll handle this, Millie." It was my understanding that Mr. Canham terminated Dr. Anderson. Shortly thereafter, Bo had him reinstated because he needed his team doctor and wanted to ensure Anderson remained part of the Michigan team. In the 10th grade, I needed another football physical, and that meant another trip to Dr. Anderson. This time I was a little older, but still was told to respect doctors. Anderson groped me once again before I stopped him, as it made me feel uncomfortable. The final time I saw Anderson was as a college freshman for another physical exam, as I was just about to start football at Western Michigan. This time, Anderson didn't lay a hand on me. He just signed the paper clearing me to play. Many of the University of Michigan players weren't as fortunate. I trained with them during the summers in the mid-'70s and heard their stories and locker room jokes about Anderson's abuse. We now know, because of survivors coming forward, that Anderson's abuse of players, students for over 30 years was the worst kept secret at the university. I understand the reverence people have for my father, including Jim Harbaugh, but I know the truth. Anderson abused me and countless others over 3 decades. It's clear the culture of abuse at the University of Michigan has not changed and will not change until they acknowledge what happened. Anderson was able to continue this abuse for so long because he was supported by a culture that placed the reputation of the university above the health and safety of the students. That is the culture that made my father a legend and placed his statue in front of Schembechler Hall. It's a culture that he believes, as he did, no man is more important than the team. Dr. Anderson was part of the University of Michigan team. He was part of Bo's team. Therefore, he was more important than any man. It's very clear that Bo and the university always put themselves before any student, athlete, or son just to support the brand. I'm coming forward for my own healing and to help prevent people and institutions from exploiting the trust, power, and authority given to them. I sincerely hope that in some way we'll be protecting others where Bo and the university failed to protect me.